Hello, everyone, and welcome live to 3Y TV for tonight's broadcast of the Total Nonstop Racing Bagcraft Grand National Series here on 3Y TV. We're glad you all are with us here once again on this Monday night for the Famuchi doubleheader from Lucas Oil Raceway Park in Indianapolis. I'm Mitchell Adams, and joining me in the booth tonight is Garrett Gleason, and we have Peter here producing for us. We are going to be taking you through tonight's race here from Lucas Oil. And Garrett, we've got a doubleheader of racing here tonight. Quite a lot of action to look forward to.
Yeah, a lot of action to look forward to, Mitchell. And a lot of these guys are on the bubble. This is their second to last chance to get in. We will have a last chance qualifier, but you got double the opportunity at making points up on your competition tonight, and that's what these guys are going to set out to do. And it's pretty typical, Mitchell, that on the week that we have a doubleheader, that I'm here working for free as always, because I can't get any of the paid gigs here on 3Y TV.
Well, we're glad to have you with us here. I'm glad to be working beside you. You see practice about to wrap up here from Lucas Oil, and we'll get into qualifying shortly. But like you said, we are looking at the playoffs not too far away here, as the top 8 here tonight after the 2 races will advance through into the playoffs. So that is definitely something we will keep you posted about as the night goes forward, looking out on track as some drivers are just finishing up their qualifying runs. That's Kyle Zimmer in the number 51. You see him there. He's trying to get some last-minute practice in, and there's a lot of different approaches to this racetrack. We will see some multi-groove racing, but you see Bill Edwards up there running the wall. That tends to be the preferred groove here at Lucas Oil, but Garrett, drivers definitely going to have their choice where to run as we get into the race, and it's going to be fun watching them try to work the different lanes and make passes as you see the checkered flag going down on practice here, and we are rolling over into the qualifying session here. Again, want to thank you all for tuning in here to tonight's race. We have quite the race for you. A lot of race in one sentence there. As here goes John Canizarro in the number 12 out onto the track. Your points leader coming into tonight is John Canizarro, and coming into these last 2 races of the regular season, he is looking to clinch the regular season championship, and he has quite the lead over Mike Tellier coming into tonight's race. But anything can happen here at Lucas Oil, Garrett.
Yeah, anything can happen, and it really kills me as a league owner to see John Canizarro leading our league standings, and it really takes the fun out of it. It makes me regret bringing Total Nonstop Racing back, but it's all in good fun. It's nice to see John Canizarro putting some consistent runs together, and he certainly deserves to lead our points. But like you said, Mike Tellier, second place. Like, I looked at the standings before the race, and Mike has been very consistent this season, and Mike gets around this place very well. And speaking of guys who are consistent and get around, Bill Edwards, my nemesis / friend. I'm looking forward to him finally making me true to my words and getting that win I've been saying he's going to get for about 3 weeks now.
Yeah, Bill Edwards definitely got a good shot here, sitting 3rd place on the board right now. As you talked about it, John Canizarro had quite the strong season. I know I won't try to ask you your opinions about him too much through the broadcast, but John Canizarro definitely has had a good season. Looking at it, Ben Nizenka in the 07, another driver who has had a good season, but Ben Nizenka finds himself down 12th place in points, but he is only, after some quick mental math, 9 points back from that 8th place cutoff, so he's a driver to keep our eye on here tonight. There's his teammate in the number 13, James Lorello. Always fast is the 13 of James Lorello. You might call him my nemesis at times, Garrett, even though I haven't raced with him in quite a while, but done a lot of racing with James. He comes into tonight on that bubble spot in the 8th place points position, so James Lorello just looking to keep doing what he's been doing all season here as he goes to the top of the chart in qualifying. So good start to the night for James Lorello in qualifying. As we're taking a look out on track, see who else is out there. We have the number 45 car out on track. That is John Eckert. There's the name. You're riding on board with him through the turns 1 and 2. You see how he gets up high toward that wall, Peter. It's very difficult to run right up close to the wall like that for as many laps as these drivers are going to be doing it here tonight. So definitely a challenging track for the drivers is Lucas Oil.
Mitchell, I'm just curious tonight if we will see these guys give each other room, and we'll have some give and take out there as we watch Eckhart get into the wall, or if these guys are going to use that slide job and use each other up, knowing that so many points are on the line and it is go time for these playoff positions. As we watch Kevin Stone rocking the Famuchi wear sponsor of our race tonight colors, but looks like no harm done there, and we'll see what he can put down.
Yep, the number 14 of Kevin Stone keeps it straight, and again, that's a great chance to thank Famuchi Wear, who is sponsoring tonight's doubleheader here from the Lucas Oil Raceway Park, so big thank you to them. You see Kevin Stone representing them, but Garrett, I think you only have these 2 races before the playoffs. You've got a race for everything here tonight, especially after this first race, which we're going to get to right after qualifying. You've got 87 laps, and you'll know where you stand after that, so these drivers really need to get the points done tonight, or there's no other chance to do it. So I expect to see very aggressive racing. Maybe early on they'll be a little patient and just figure each other out, but by the end of this, I think they're going to be racing harder than we've seen all season. It should definitely be a show to watch here as Kevin Stone puts his first lap in. He'll go to 9th place on the board for the time being. You see Matthew Rodriguez down there at the bottom of your screen is also out there taking lap time at the moment. We'll see where Kevin Stone ends up. Stays 9th. Matthew Rodriguez out for his first lap. Now, doesn't look like that one count, surely, for Matthew Rodriguez. Might have had a little wall contact. As you see him really struggling with the rear end of that race car, Garrett. Is that something we expect to see tonight as there goes the 57?
Well, I don't know how many laps of practice Matthew Rodriguez got, so if he just got out there, he might have been just testing the limits of the track and during qualifying using it as his practice session. I've certainly seen him do that before, but it looks like all we'll have here for qualifying as we're getting ready for our first race action of the night. Stage break is on lap 25. And Mitchell, if you wanted to just take a moment here before we start, let everybody know what kind of action we have going on tomorrow night in the Total Nonstop Racing League.
I'd be glad to do that tomorrow night in the Total Nonstop Racing League. We have Season 2 for the Stay Tuned Sports Podcast Tuesday Night Thunder Truck Series. I almost screwed up our name there. We are back for Season number 2. Once again on 3 Wide TV, Carlos Acosta will be producing with you, Garrett, and Bob Giaquinto in the booth tomorrow night. I'll be racing, so I'm looking forward to it, and I know that you all do a great job in the booth, but we're going to be at Daytona, and we're looking to have a very big field in that race tomorrow night, so there is plenty of action to go around here in the Total Nonstop Racing League on 3 Wide TV. But now you see the cars getting gridded up to start this race. We'll take you through your starting order for race number 1 in tonight's doubleheader presented by Famuchi Wear at Lucas Oil Raceway. James Lorello going to start from the pole position here tonight. Driver coming in on the points bubble, looking for a good run. Jason Gracia starts from the 2nd position. Then it's Ben Nizenka and John Canizarro making up row 2. Then it's Dave Harvey and John Eckert starting in the 3rd row. Bill Edwards and Jamar Dumas make up row 4. And rounding out your top 10 are Kevin Stone and JD Laird.
Yeah, nice solid top 10 starting spot for those guys. We have Dougie Maher starting in 11th, Philip Scott in 12th. Mike Floppy Tellier, our 2nd place points guy, in 13th. Kyle Zimmer, 14th. Matthew Rodriguez, 15th. Garrett Gleason's up here in the booth because he doesn't get to race all the time. And Keith Carbaugh is rounding out your field. This is one of the smallest fields we've had since we got back into iRacing in our ARCA days, so I don't expect it to be lacking for any action, though, despite only 16 guys being here. And if you're not with us, I hope you're back with us again here in a week or two, and I hope you enjoyed the show. But these cars are getting ready to roll off here.
Yep, 16 cars, definitely plenty to put on a good show for us. All these drivers know what they're doing around this racetrack, so looking forward to seeing race number 1 get underway as the pace car is rolling out of pit road. James Lorello getting set to take the field to green flag here. 2 laps of pacing, and then we'll get going from Lucas Oil. I love this track. Garrett, I don't know about you. I know there's a lot of mixed opinions in the sim racing community about Lucas Oil. Some people don't like it. I like it, but what are your opinions on this track before we get going?
You know, Mitchell, I used to like this place, and I thought it was unique. I used to like running up near the wall, and then as I got older and more timid, I'm almost afraid to run here, and I'm bad here. It's one of my worst tracks. And I have a lot of worst tracks for our 3Y TV viewers. they for sure know that, but I just can't seem to get a handle on this place. But I'm gonna have to like keep an eye on guys tonight, like JD Laird, Jason Gracias, the guys that are consistent every week, James Lorello, and just see how they run this place. And maybe if we ever come back here, I'll know what I'm doing, but I wouldn't hold your breath.
Well, someone who does know what he is doing coming into tonight is James Lorello. Put up a fast lap on the pole, but he has 15 other hungry race car drivers right behind him. Again, the playoffs will be starting very soon after this doubleheader here. So tonight, you've got to get it done in the points, and that is what James Lorello is looking to do on the points bubble here tonight, as the iRacing pace truck should be heading down pit road this time. No, it's not. I was wrong. That'll be the first time of many tonight here, folks. You'll get used to it by the time we go off air. But one more lap of pacing, and then James Lorello going to take the field to green. But like we said, the points battle coming into tonight, James Lorello in the 8th place position in points. He has 789 points. You go back to Ben Nizenka in 12th. He has 779. So only 10 points back are 8th through 12th. So definitely a really good battle to keep our eye on through the night. But there went the pace truck. It finally went down. And James Lorello rolling on the high line, getting ready to lead the field to green here from Lucas Oil Raceway Park for the Famuchi Ware doubleheader. Green flag in the air, James Lorello on the loud paddle, and we are racing from Lucas Oil.
Wow, Jason Gracias stood with him right there on the start, but it looks like that top groove of James Lorello is going to be able to pull away, and John Canizarro is going to try to follow him through.
Yeah, all kinds of sideways out of the corner is James Lorello. Jason Gracias trying to get up the inside of John Canizarro. Watch the 77 of Dave Harvey trying to make it 3 wide up the inside, but James Lorello gets settled away in the race lead. John Canizarro is right there, though, and I know from experience here at Lucas Oil that I've run as the leader in front of John Canizarro, and he'll give James quite the battle here for the race lead. But John, I know you're not a fan of him, Garrett. He's definitely good here, though, as he's up challenging James Lorello for the race lead. Gonna have to settle back in line for the time being, but like we said before the broadcast, you see the drivers kind of favoring that high line, at least in the early going. That's where the grip is going to be, but throughout the race we might see drivers venture down into the lower lanes. That can come into effect, especially later on in the race. But so far, smooth sailing for all your top drivers as they're out single file in line. You see John Canizarro, Garrett, he's really kind of arcing it down on the exit of the corner more than James is, as we're dialing up a replay here on 3Y TV. You'll have to take a look at what we are seeing. Looks like the 51 of Kyle Zimmer out of the turn down the back straightaway, close up into pit road. So Kyle Zimmer a little bit into the grass down pit road. Early pit stop for the 51.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I don't know if Kyle had other plans tonight or what's going on there. We'll have to see. Well, he's back on track, so I'm not really sure. Maybe the old Johnny Williams method. He does make pit stops in as you can by lap 10. This way he might not have to come back later.
Well, he is contending from one lap down at the moment, so we will have to keep our eye on the number 51 Sinorama machine as this race goes on. Well, is he going down pit road again? No, he's just making sure not to be too aggressive with those lead lap cars. Meanwhile, though, up front, John Canizarro has gotten around the number 13 of James Lorello, give the race lead to the one of John 12, of John Canizarro, but plenty of cars right behind him for the race lead. You see that battle there on the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. There are 5 cars right here, nose to tail. John Canizarro, James Lorello, Lorello's teammate Ben Nizenka, and Jason Gracias and Dave Harvey, all right here battling for the race lead. You see Dave Harvey maybe thought about a move underneath of Jason Gracias, but John Canizarro came into tonight your points leader, 2 wins on the season. right now John is starting to scoot away just a little bit with the race lead.
Yeah, John seems to have the race lead right now, but like you said, those guys are looking for ways to pass behind them as we're looking at a battle here back in the field. Bill Edwards with Jamar Dumas here, the whole gaggle of cars. I think I saw Tristan Maher, J.D. Laird just riding back here. I think some of these guys are just feeling out this track right now, seeing what's going to work, what's not going to work with that stage break coming up at lap 25. Same thing for the 51 of Zimmer. Hold on to lap 25, get your lap back, and it's a whole new race for you. Don't give up, and I think it's a good strategy for the 51.
Yeah, he just has to ride it out a little longer before that stage break at lap 25, like you said. So hopefully no harm, no foul for the 51, unless John Canizarro and these other leaders can put more cars one lap down in the early stages. As Nizenka got awfully close to the wall, exiting turn 4, but keeps it single file gathered up for the time being. Not much action going on here in the top, and just waiting for anyone to make a mistake, and then things should get really interesting. But J.D. Laird and Bill Edwards, you see them there, they've been going at it for the last couple of laps here. You see these drivers back here favoring more that inside lane a little bit more than the drivers up front seem to be doing. You see Bill looking to make a pass underneath the 14 of Kevin Stone, or try to. Stone driving the Famuchi wear car here tonight. But that opened up the outside for J.D. Laird, who's been very fast all season in the Total Nonstop Racing League Bagcraft Grand National Series. Laird up on the high line, going to get around Bill Edwards. Watch out for Tristan Maher to come in on the high line as well. But we are 3 wide into turn 1. Bill Edwards up the inside. They tried to both get under the 14 of Kevin Stone, but we're going to settle back down 2 wide for the time being. Bill Edwards all by himself without any friends on the inside. I say that, and of course someone has to go prove me wrong. That's Jamar Dumas getting into the 45 of Eckert there out of turn 4. They keep it going straight, but that was a scary moment for John Eckert. Good driving to keep it out of the infield wall.
Wow, I was just going to comment on that battle as you were going there. I saw the 45 and the 28 battle, and I said something's got to give here, because I think the 28 was thinking the 45 was holding up that entire group. You see J.D. Laird coming, and heck of a save there by the 45. I mean, that could have been a lot worse. Stage breaks coming up, really no harm. You lost a little bit of track position, but the field's not that big, and who knows, maybe it'll be a little safer back there if you can ride it out for 10 more laps.
John Eckert did a great job, like you said, keeping it out of the wall. Not a lot of drivers would be able to do that in that situation, so good driving. Meanwhile, up front, though, battle between Jason Gracias and Nizenka for the 3rd place position. Jason Gracias tried to slide up in front, wasn't quite clear at the time. Now he is exiting turn 2. Moved Jason Gracias up into the 3rd position over Nizenka, who's getting a lot of pressure from Dave Harvey, your winner at Bristol. Harvey has won on the short tracks this season here in the Total Nonstop Racing League, Garrett. Definitely strong driver to keep our eye on in both doubleheaders here tonight, in the Famuchi wear doubleheader here. You see Dave Harvey's number 77, but things haven't settled down any, Garrett, further back in the pack. You see J.D. Laird riding here, still under fire from Bill Edwards, who's still trying to work the inside lane. But we saw from that incident between the 28 of Dumas and John Eckert that it can be difficult to keep that car down there on the inside lane.
Absolutely. These guys are just searching for grip and searching for places to pass each other out there. And you see a racer as talented as J.D. Laird struggling to an extent to make his way forward in this field. It's just showing you how tough it is to pass here. And as these races go on, like we talked about earlier, we're going to see if guys are willing to use each other up to gain spots. So I'm just looking back. Mike Tellier, I've known Mike for 20 years, and Mike is good at this place. And he's not even in the top 10. So clearly these guys are having a little bit more of a transition adjusting to this track than I expect. As our leader has a moment there, and they're 3 wide behind them, Mitchell.
Yeah, James Lorello got into the back of the number 12 of John Canizarro, went for a slide through turn numbers 1 and 2, but his dirt track skills kind of helped John gather that one back up there, and he continues to hold your race lead, though, as we have only 5 laps to go in the first stage here from Lucas Oil Raceway Park. And things have heated up here as a result of that. You saw Nizenka trying to get back around the number 1 of Jason Gracias. Gonna not be able to do it for now. There goes Dave Harvey up to the outside of the 07. Couldn't hold it there, but Dave Harvey looking fast there in that number 77. And here we go, a little further back in the pack. The number 17 of Tristan Maher looking under Bill Edwards for the 8th place position. Maher lost some ground there, going to fall back into the clutches of Matthew Rodriguez and JD Laird. That is the battle for the 9th position at the moment. You see Bill Edwards also trying to get around Jamar Dumas, who's found his way up into the 7th position. But you were talking about it, Garrett. It's just a difficult track, and you see very strong drivers struggling here. And that is just, I think it speaks to the difficulty of this track and the difficulty to make passes. Meanwhile, though, 2 laps to go in stage number 1. It is still all John Canizarro out front, but James Lorello is not very far back at all. You see Lorello dive it in to turn number 1. He got up into the wall a little bit, actually, so Lorello driving really hard trying to get the stage win. Remember, the 13 is on the bubble, so he could use all the points he could get here. As contact between the number 13 and 12 put John Canizarro up into the wall, and James Lorello takes the lead with 1 to go on the stage.
James is doing everything he has to do to get these stage points, and that's just one of those deals. I mean, Canizarro's got to understand that was probably going to happen because he needs the points. There's always a winner and there's always a loser, and right there Canizarro was the loser, but he could get him back later. But I think we're coming to the stage break right now. Our administrator Justin White will probably be throwing the flag once the top 8 crosses the line, and then we'll re-rack them and do it again until lap 87.
Yep, this is a great battle for the 7th position. It's going to be Jamar Dumas and Matthew Rodriguez picking up the top 8 stage points here. That was quite the battle we had going on there for those positions. Going to look back at the contact between James Lorello and John Canizarro headed off into turn 3. You see James just dive it up the inside. Just slides up a little too much into the 12, but that's just a short track racing incident, Garrett. That's just the way you have to race here, especially with all the points on the line. James Lorello needs all those points he can get, and that's just kind of what you have to do. And I think John Canizarro probably going to understand that. He's definitely not happy with it, Garrett, but it's just kind of the situation he's in versus Lorello.
That was a decent amount of contact on the left front of Canizarro's machine there. I think he's going to have to pit for a decent amount of damage. I could be wrong, but it looked worse the second time around than when I saw it live. When I saw it live, I thought it was just like a love tap, but I think he had a decent amount of damage. We'll see how long he spends in the pits here. I know if I know anything about John Canizarro, he's not paying for a top-notch pit crew, so it could be a while.
That we'll have to wait and see for John Canizarro driving the Stay Tuned Sports machine out there. Jason Gracias with a very quick pit stop. I have to imagine possibly 2-tire stop for Jason Gracias. Not a bad call if so, with how difficult it's been to make passes. Good race between Kevin Stone and Matthew Rodriguez out of pit road. Here's Jason Gracias, who is going to inherit your race lead after this first stage caution. Jason Gracias ran strong in the first stage, but looking at the Polyhedral Cathedral Lucky Dog Award winner, Kyle Zimmer in the 51, held on from 1 lap down there, kept himself first car 1 lap down, and he's going to pick up that Polyhedral Cathedral Lucky Dog Award.
He's as lucky as we are for having Polyhedral Cathedral as a sponsor, getting back on the lead lap. It's like a fresh start. You know how many times I wish I had a Polyhedral Cathedral Lucky Dog in my life, Mitchell, and I could just do something over or get one more chance at something, because I fail at so many things on a daily basis, and it's just great what Polyhedral Cathedral does for us guys who tend to go a lap down. You might not know anything about that. Peter doesn't know anything about it, but Bob and I know about it, and Bob and I appreciate it.
Yep, always glad to have Polyhedral Cathedral on board sponsoring that Lucky Dog Award. Of course, Kyle Zimmer, very happy to have that Polyhedral Cathedral Lucky Dog Award, like you said. One car I am looking at, though, is JD Laird not on the track as far as I can see. We'll have to keep our eye on what's going on with JD. Very fast in the first stage, but meanwhile, the running order has changed a little bit. Jason Gracias out front. John Canizarro, pit crew can't be too bad, Garrett, because he passed his way up in pit road and into the second place position. Right now, Ben Nizenka remained third. Dave Harvey is now running fourth. And James Lorello, that pit crew struggled way more than John's did, Garrett. He's fallen all the way back to the fifth position.
Well, that's surprising, but I think now is the time. You don't know if there's going to be another yellow, especially with no more stage breaks, so get your damage fixed now. I would have taken the lumps on this pit stop. Maybe Canizarro didn't repair all his damage, or maybe I'm wrong. Again, I could use a polyhedral cathedral lucky dog in those instances, but we're getting ready to re-rack them here, and we'll see if we could get these 50-some laps in here to the checkered. But Jason Gracias out front, some fresh air, some clean air through his grill. We'll see if he can hold them off. It's going to be a tough battle.
Yeah, Jason Grassi is going to lead the field to green on what I think was a two-tire stop, maybe no tires, because it was definitely faster than everyone else, unless he has an F1 pit crew behind the wheel, or behind the box, excuse me, which I don't think is the case here. As green flag is back in the air, great start for Jason Gracias on the outside lane. We saw him hang right with pole sitter James Lorello in the initial start of the race, so another good start for the one of Gracias. Contact, though, a little farther back. Ben Nizenka got all kinds of squirrely out of turn 2, keeping it held up in the fourth position for the time being. But Kevin Stone in that Famuchi wear car up on the high line, trying to take it away for him. But don't overlook James Lorello, winner of stage 1. He's lost a lot of ground here, and like we said, he's battling for points with that 07 and with that 14. So James Lorello right with the people he is battling with, but Jason Gracias, you see, just turned the fastest lap, last lap. There's a lot of L's there. Fastest lap, last lap. Don't try and say that 5 times fast. I'm not saying it again. But he is doing a great job out front of this race. Whatever his strategy is.
It was 2 tires. 2 tires. I got confirmation he did take 2 tires, and I guess that's all he needed there, Mitchell. Our race controller, I asked him what the strategy was. 2 tires to get out front, and so far he's making it work.
He's definitely making it work as he's driven out to 0.8 of a second over John Canizarro. This is by far the biggest lead we have seen in the race, so maybe that helped loosen that car up, helping him turn right up there on the wall. But whatever he's doing, it's working for the number 1 of Jason Gracias, and John Canizarro doing a good job in second position. Dave Harvey worked his way up into third, though. Definitely a driver we've talked about keeping our eye on. Dave Harvey in the number 77, strong on the short tracks this season. Okay, here's another one from our wonderful producer, Peter. Jason Gracias took 2 tires that time, 2 hops next time. Thank you, Peter.
Yo, Mitchell, I gotta come in here. Our second and third place drivers, I just wanted to say something about that. I've known about John a lot less time than I've known Dave Harvey, but like, they're the type of racers that, like, if you put something on the track that said this is an electric fence, don't touch it because you'll get shocked, they would go for it, because that's just their mentality. They're out of their mind, and it's no surprise to see them running well at a place like Lucas Oil.
Yeah, they definitely have it figured out a lot better than other drivers have so far in the race. Looking a little bit back further at Bill Edwards, now Matthew Rodriguez in the 57. All these drivers staying relatively close together so far in this second stage of the race. Matthew Rodriguez picked up stage points there toward the end. Here's the driver, though, to keep our eyes on. The 17 of Tristan Maher is 1 lap down. Got put 1 lap down somewhere in that cycle near the end of the stage, so we'll have to keep our eye on the driver of the Bagcraft machine. Maybe he can pick up one of those polyhedral cathedral lucky dog award, just like the 51 of Kyle Zimmer, who you see him racing with right now. 1 lap behind the leader, and Peter took it off the screen before I could quite finish it there, which is probably all right. Probably spare it. Oh, thank you. Peter put it back. 1 lap behind the leader, last car on track. I don't think that was the worst one I've had to read so far tonight, but I hope you all are enjoying it out there watching in the chat. We see a lot of not a lot of drivers, a lot of people out in the chat. Garrett Gleason, I don't know who Garrett Gleason is, out in chat. Bob Giaquinto, who's normally up here in the booth. Hope all's going well with Bob. Robert Tripp's out in the chat. The Windsors rooting on S2R, and Ryan Hesgard also out in the chat. So thank you all for joining us here for tonight's Famuchi Wear doubleheader in the Total Nonstop Racing League. We're glad to have you all with us. Okay, I'm back, and I am seeing that I have to read worst for one with that. Will you will have will read. I can barely keep it together up here at this point, trying to keep it together, reading all those. I apologize to you all out there. Meanwhile, the battle for the fourth position heating up with Ben Nizenka and James Lorello. These two are teammates, but do you really have teammates out there tonight, Garrett, when you're racing to make the playoffs?
Well, I can't speak from experience. I'm never racing to make the playoffs, but I would say that these guys are going to be able to sort it out amongst themselves with respect, and they'll figure it out. I mean, yes, you're teammates, yes, you're friends, but you're also racers, and those things have a way of working themselves out. And if somebody's better than me, teammate or not, they're gonna get by me eventually. I'm not gonna hold them up if that's the case, especially if we're racing for a championship, because for right now, it looks like James has a little bit better car than Ben. Ben keeps holding them up. They get into each other, then both your chances are ruined, and you just can't take that opportunity as a team. So they'll sort it out here in a couple laps.
You saw Ben Nizenka get up into the wall out of 4, almost got a little bit squirrely, and now they are battling side by side down the back straightaway. But I have to agree with you, Garrett. I think when you get in this position, you always race nice, and these two know how to race each other and race other drivers in general. But when it comes to this position, your first priority is yourself and making the playoffs. But I feel like there is in the back of your mind the fact that it's your teammate. But we've seen what James Lorello willing to do. He moved John Canizarro for the stage win, which again, nothing wrong with that. But James Lorello out there to race. I'm sure Ben Nizenka is doing the same. Kyle Zimmer, though, leading a big train of cars here for the 11th place position. That's Tristan Maher, like we said, 1 lap down, trying to race to get the Polyhedral Cathedral Lucky Dog Award in that number 17. Matthew Rodriguez still struggling to work his way up the field just a little bit. Kyle Zimmer started 15th, now 10th, so it's been a solid progression from Kyle Zimmer, and he's had the Polyhedral Cathedral Lucky Dog to help him out in that cause. They've got a little bit of a gap back to the cars in front of them. Dave Harvey still solidly running third. John Canizarro, almost called him James Canizarro, I'm sorry, John, running in the second position, but Jason Gracia is still doing everything right out at the lead of this race. He's a whole second in front of John Canizarro, and there's big gap in between Canizarro and Harvey as well. That's about 0.6 of a second, and then James Lorello about another 0.7 of a second behind Harvey. So all these drivers have a little bit of separation, a little bit of wiggle room, Garrett, for the time being, but I can't imagine it's going to stay that way too much longer throughout the night, because like we said, we are about halfway through this one, a little bit past the halfway point. Then after this, we have a whole other race, thanks to Famuchi Wear here from Lucas Oil Raceway Park, with some inverted driver finishes. We'll talk about that a little later on in the broadcast, but riding on board with Cookie Monster, who I'm being told is actually Matthew Rodriguez, who started 15th up to 12th. So Matthew's doing okay, but definitely would like to be running up a little bit further. We'll see what the number 57 can do as the race goes on. You see Mike Floppy Tellier as well, Garrett, who's still struggling to kind of work his way up through the field in the 11th position right now, but we know he would like to be doing a little better.
I think I have a theory here on Mike. Mike is solidly in the chase points-wise. I would not put it past Mike to be sandbagging this race to try to get a front starting spot for the next race. I've known Mike a long time, raced stadium trucks with him. Sometimes he pulls that strategy. I would not be surprised at that 97-pound speed between this race and the next race. He might just be studying everyone and figuring out what's going on. So let's keep an eye on that, and if I'm right later, maybe you and Peter could get me a cake or something.
Well, we can head over to the number 45 pit stall of Eckert. I'm sure they've got some Klondike bars down there we could give to you if you earn it throughout the rest of the broadcast. But I feel like you're probably right on it, Garrett. I feel like that could be definitely a possibility. We'll have to wait and see, because Mike Floppy Tellier, definitely not a shabby race car driver. So we will have to see as the race goes on. But The battle is heating up a little bit for the second position. John Canizarro has a familiar driver in the back of his mirror. Doesn't like what happened the last time he saw that Elizabeth Lorello racing machine out the back of his windshield. That's James Lorello, who is closed up onto John Canizarro. Actually got around Dave Harvey a couple of laps ago, who was also battling with the 12 of Canizarro. And Dave Harvey is busy fighting with the 07 of Nizenka, so battles in the top 5 heating up for everyone except Jason Gracias, who's now a whole 4 seconds away with the race lead.
Jason Gracias is really stinking up the show from the lead. I did not expect that. He must have known something on strategy to get those 2 tires, get out front, and just check out, because we saw how much speed the 12 had. We saw how much speed the 13 had, and Gracias is just putting down lap after lap, consistently blistering these guys by tenths of a second from at least my basic math here, just watching the ticker go by. I think he was 3.9 and then 4.4 like by the next lap, so it's pretty crazy. But the best battle looks like it's on track here for second place from these guys who made contact a bit earlier, and I can't help but say I'm rooting for Lorello to put the 12 in the wall again.
I don't think that comes as a surprise to any of us here, Garrett, but I'm sure he would love to do it again. I got a little worried. He slid in very close to John Canizarro, almost made contact, but will it be any different? Because they aren't racing for the race lead at the moment. This is the battle for second place, but it's still more points. So if you're James Lorello, do you want to ruffle up John Canizarro for the second place stage win? Of course, I know what I think you're going to say, which is yes, anyone should ruffle up John Canizarro at any time, but is that, you think, a good move from the 13 of Lorello if you were to do it again?
No, I wouldn't think so, and I don't think James is that type of a racer that he would do it. But I mean, I would attack John Canizarro to cut the last blade of grass or something in my yard or something, like any little thing, the last dandelion. I would just, last sprinkle on ice cream, I would just go after John Canizarro for any reason. So I am the worst person to ask about that, as our great producer here is going to queue up a replay, and we're going to watch these. Well, we're watching Mike, and we'll see what Mike's doing. Still nothing. Peter, come on, speed it up. Oh, he got sideways towards the inside wall, and yep, that's not helping his strategy any.
That might very well be why we see Mike Tellier back in the pack a little bit too. That is a significant knock to the inside wall as gets into the Klondike bar. John Eckert in the number 45. Mike Tellier really wants that Klondike bar in the number 97. He's been doing it for 61 laps so far. Probably wants a little ice cream. I could use a little ice cream up here in the booth, but James Lorello not letting up on John Canizarro at all. These two are still bumper to bumper, and you see the 07 of Nizenka has been able to get away from the 77 of Dave Harvey, so Harvey struggling just a little bit to keep pace with these drivers up front. But like you said, they're going to race very hard, so it might be not a bad idea to give them a little space, which could be what the 77 is doing back here. But John Canizarro is running comfortably now 6 seconds behind the number 1 of Jason Gracias out front. So you got to remember Gracias is out there, but James Lorello, all kinds of squirrely once again out of turn 4. We've seen that all race long from drivers struggling on the exit of the corners. He's just looking for any kind of edge over John Canizarro, as we have a stage 2, Garrett, if I am right. Or do we not?
We do not have a stage. We are green to the end here, so there's no stage break, but we will have a stage break in the next feature race. So yeah, nothing here. So this field could very well stay this strung out, and we'll see what happens as we're looking at Keith Carbaugh, who has been putting the time in to get a little better each week. I love that paint scheme, and he's 1 lap down, but again, every race is a learning opportunity. We've all, well, maybe you guys haven't, but I've been there learning the ropes on iRacing, and Keith's definitely someone that puts the time in. We're glad to have him here, and I know things are going to get better for him.
Yeah, another mistake from me. I told you all to get used to it. No stage 2, but Keith now in that lucky dog position, the polyhedral cathedral lucky dog position, which means the 17 of Tristan Thuggy Maher is not, if we were to get another caution before this race, first race of the Famuchi, where doubleheader concludes in 22 laps. But John Canizarro still with the mirror full of James Lorello. Now the 07 of Nizenka is right there behind Lorello. So the battle for second place is heating up as Canizarro sliding. Slid through the turn, keeps it straight. Good driving from Canizarro, still holding on to the second position. Meanwhile, the 45 of John Eckert is trying to hold off a 2 wide behind him, Mike Floppy Tellier and Kyle Zimmer. Ooh, as Tellier got up into the wall, maybe on the exit of 4. He's driving really hard here behind the number 45. Really, like we said, he wants the Klondike bar, Garrett. But John Canizarro back on screen again, still doing what he has been doing, which is stay in front of James Lorello and Ben Izanga, the S2R teammates, but he's got to do it for 20 more laps. Not an easy task at all.
No, and I'd like to amend my statement at this point. With the 07 creeping in on the 13, it's going to be go time for the 13, and he might have to use up the 12 again. I think the 12 is holding them up. I think he's used his tires up. You can see him sliding there, and these guys getting closer is going to make this action happen, whether Lorello wants it to or not. I'm sure he doesn't look forward to it, but the battle is on, and as we see Bill Edwards and Dave Harvey exchanging positions on the racetrack, high and low there.
Yeah, the third S2R machine gets around Dave Harvey, now trying to join his teammates and harassing the number 12 of John Canizarro up here. I agree with you. With the driver you're battling in the points bubble right there, the pressure is getting cranked up lap after lap on the 13 of James Lorello. He does have stage points to go back on, but you really don't want to go back on extra points. You want to beat that other driver, which is exactly what I'm sure James Lorello will be trying to do out here, as you see them working past the number 29 of Keith Carbow, who is again 1 lap down. He is racing with the 17 for the lucky dog position. Actually, Matthew Rodriguez has also gone 1 lap down, so now Rodriguez holds the Polyhedral Cathedral lucky dog position, but John Canizarro not too worried about that. And really, neither is the number 1 of Jason Gracias. Our little Gracias update is that he is now 8 seconds in front of Canizarro, so we're just going to let Jason go do his thing, and we'll keep focusing on these other battles in the packs. Like you said, Garrett, he's not making it very fun for us up here. We have to focus on the battle for the second while he's away winning the race. It's not very fun to watch, but this battle for second is very entertaining, I must say. From the broadcast perspective, we've been having these drivers go at it almost all race, definitely for the last 15 or so laps here in this run. As you see Ben Izanga right there, riding on board with him. It's just, if you're Izanga, Garrett, do you want to try and make the move on James Lorello, or do you want to wait for Lorello? Oh, I am going to have to wait a minute on that one, put it back in my pocket, use it later, because there goes the 07 around James Lorello. You saw Lorello struggling out of 4, almost slid down into the inside wall, got that loose, and now Izanga is up in front of him as we're going to cue it back up on the 3-wide TV replay.
Mitchell, as you were making that point, as we're watching this replay again of Lorello getting loose, if I was Lorello, I'd probably be telling my teammate in our team chat, hey, I roughed this guy up before. I'm doing my best here. I can't seem to get by him. You want to take the lead on this, and this way, if you use him up, at least that's 2 of us that did it, and not me doing it twice. I think that's the teammate thing to do, and I don't expect Izanga to waste any time here trying to get by the 12, and sure enough, he's underneath him, and we'll see if Canizarro could hold him off, and he clears him again here going into turn 1.
Yeah, I think you make a good point, Garrett, and Ben Izanga ran up on these 2, might have the better car at this stage in the run. Let's go give him a chance to get around the number 12, and he is trying to do just that. You've seen him up the inside of the 12 of John Canizarro. Might have been a little friendly contact there. John Canizarro's on the edge. You can see him wheeling the race car, but the rear end not cooperating on the number 12, but he's done a good job so far keeping these cars behind him. See Ben Izanga there. S2R 345 is our producer Peter's kindly reminding me. You see Bill Edwards, excuse me, Bill, creeping up into this battle as well, but James Lorello is going to go try and get around the 07 of Ben Izanga. We take all that back about trying to let Izanga make the pass, because there he goes. Lorello is ready for another shot at John Canizarro. I think he's rested up, Peter. He's got that front bumper ready to go, and I think I imagine he's going to be using it here probably in the next couple laps if he's going to be.
Yeah, I'm registered in the session. I'm thinking about getting out on the track and just using the bumper on Canizarro just to get this over with. But I think I'll compose myself and we'll watch this battle for the last 9 laps. This is a tremendous battle. And just to say, we're not making light of anything Jason Graphix is doing. He is doing a fantastic job at everything he needs to do as a bubble driver to win this first race. And because I think he needs 2 top 5s, the win's definitely going to help him. But the battle is here for second place, and it is quite the battle.
Yeah, we definitely cannot overlook the number 1 of Jason Graphix on 2 tires. Has had one of the greatest drives I have seen here at Lucas Oil. This is absolutely incredible what Graphix is doing, out almost 10 seconds in the lead on older tires. Only 2 tires on the pit stop, so definitely good run for Jason Graphix, to say the least, as you see Matthew Rodriguez moving out of the way for this battle. As there goes Lorello up the inside of Canizarro. Canizarro up into the wall, and there go the S2R teammates. James Lorello out front. Ben Nizenka also going to be able to get around, and Bill Edwards going to go up, maybe rough up the 12 just slightly. Canizarro loose, but hangs on to it. All 3 S2R cars got around John Canizarro in 1 lap. Garrett, I'm sure you're loving what you're seeing right now.
Well, in a way I am, but I also feel for John Canizarro because he gives it everything he has out there. He probably knew he was at a disadvantage, used his stuff up, but he did a tremendous job holding off 3 very talented race car drivers and teammates, and he's going to be the points leader at the end of the day. So, I mean, it really doesn't make much of a difference to him. I'm sure if he can't win the race, there's not really that big of a difference where he can finish points-wise. So we'll see if Dave Harvey can get by him, and we'll see what he has in race number 2 as we're 4 laps to go, coming to 3 to go.
Yeah, and they'll all get fresh cars too, I believe. Won't they, after race 1? Yeah, they will, because that's how iRacing works. So that will be something to keep in mind. They'll all get to go to the backup cars. Some of them will. They've been roughing some feathers here during this race. But like you said, John Canizarro's had quite the run. He was getting pressured that entire run, basically, by James Lorello, which made him wear his tires. So it was kind of just a matter of time. There's only so much you can do if you are that 12, but the battle for the second position definitely not over here with only 3 laps to go. James Lorello has it, but Ben Nizenka needs to get some points on Lorello. Lorello came in on the cut line and won the first stage. Ben Nizenka definitely is going to need to try and make a move here. 2 laps to go, coming to 1 lap to go this time. Garrett, not this time, because they are not the leader. I forgot about old Jason Graphix out there putting on the clinic. Thank you, Peter, for kindly reminding me with this little graphic. This is Jason Graphix, who is now coming to 1 lap to go. I forgot about him. I'm sorry, Jason, but they have started to gain time on Jason Graphix over the last couple laps, just a 10th or so here and there, but it makes no difference. Race leader, this one is the race leader. I know, Peter. I learned my mistake. Again, I have 3 mistakes on the night that I can remember, but that is definitely way less than Jason Graphix has as he picks up race 1 of the Famuchi doubleheader from Lucas Oil. Here's the battle for second. It is going to be James Lorello beating his teammate Ben Nizenka for that position. Bill Edwards comes across the line 3rd. John Canizarro 4th. Here's the battle between the Famuchi 14, Kevin Stone, who edges out Jamar Dumas coming to the line. Plenty of action down to the end of that one. Garrett, race 1, of our Famuchi doubleheader definitely didn't disappoint.
No, well, I mean, Jason Graphix is disappointing.
Yeah, Graphix put on the clinic there in stage 1. That is definitely for sure. And I believe Garrett's caught up with Jason Graphix.
Hey, Graphix, what's your problem, man? You stunk up that show. 2-tire strategy? What went into that? And how the heck were you so fast out there, brother?
I don't know. I just like Lucas Oil. I just like ORP. It's one of my tracks that I get. There's not many of them in iRacing, so I seeded a way to loosen myself up, and I thought 2 tires would do it, and it looks like it did a decent job. And this Bagcraft number 1 car, which is on rails all night. You know, if you look good, you race good. So gotta look good. So hit up Chris at Max Graphics for a good-looking car.
Yeah, we'll get you some Bagcraft gear too. I know Tony's been slacking. I've been waiting for my shirt for about 3 months now. But Jason, you're going to start this next race from the back. I believe we're going to have an invert. Do you think you have enough speed to get back to the front and sweep tonight's doubleheader?
We'll see. I don't know what the strategy's going to look like. Obviously, starting in the back, you can't do a 2-tire strategy because you're going to burn up more tires going through the field. It's really going to be a wide open race. I think there's a couple guys who really started to understand the track late in the run, so should be interesting. I'm gonna try my best, but we'll see.
Well, good luck, brother. I'm just hoping you put on a little better show coming from the back than you did out the front, because nobody could even come close to you. It was kind of embarrassing. I felt bad for everyone. So good luck. Maybe we'll interview you again. We'll see.
Yeah, hopefully I get at least a podium.
That was Garrett Gleason, winner of race 1 of the Famuchi.
No. I didn't win race 1. That was Jason Gracias.
Jason Gracias. Mistake number 4 on the night. We're tallying them here. Sorry, Jason. I don't want to discredit you because you did put on quite the clinic here, and hopefully you can do it in this second race, but you're going toward the back, and there he goes out of our broadcast booth because he has to go race. That is important, Garrett, as we are getting ready for the Famuchi Wear doubleheader race number 2 of the night, and we are going to get treated to a little bit of a treat, I guess you could say, if that's not too many treats for you all watching at home, as we get the field inverted, which is something I forgot to touch on during the last race. I put it off till later, and now I get to talk about it. So the field gets inverted, or the top 15, I believe, get inverted going into this race. So the drivers who we were running in the back a little bit more in that race, now they're going to be up front. So the field has flipped, and we get a whole different group of drivers up front.
Yeah, so Mitchell, I like to learn from everything in life, whether it's a race, mistake, whatever. And these guys had that entire first race. They saw that 2 tires works to loosen your car up. They saw what a difference track position made. So these guys like Thuggy, Matt Rod, they're starting out front, are going to have this opportunity to put a gap between themselves and everyone else until that first stage break at lap 30. But I'll run through the top 10 here quick. We got, if J.D. Laird came back, he would have been on the pole. Keith Carbaugh, second. Tristan Maher, third. Matthew Rodriguez on the outside of row 2 and fourth. Kyle Zimmer in the Sinorama machine will roll off fifth. John Eckhart in the Klondike machine in sixth. Mike Floppy Tellier, who I'm looking to make a move towards the front, will roll off in seventh. Jamar Dumas in eighth. Kevin Stone and David Harvey rounding out your top 10.
Yep, and then it's John Canizarro in the 11th position. Bill Edwards, 12th. Ben Izenga starts 13th. James Lorello, 14th. Jason Gracias, winner of the last race, will be 15th. We are joined by Philip Scott this race, I do believe. And Garrett Gleason. Garrett, you're getting out there. You're starting 17th, but you're stuck up here with me in the booth. So sorry to spoil your fun. You got to sit with me for a while. I'm sure there's many other fun things you would rather be spending your Monday night doing.
Not many, brother. I love being here. I love this league. I love the people in this league. 3Y TV's been fantastic. Great sponsors. Bagcraft, Famuchi Wear. There's really not many places I'd rather be as we're getting ready to go green. And Mitchell, I know we both wanted to touch on something. We'll do it quick. Vincent Valvano, brother, we're thinking about you. We miss you. I hope everything works out for you and your family, but you're definitely in our thoughts, and I hope you're watching this race, enjoying it, and we hope to see you back soon.
Green flag back in the air here at Lucas Oil Raceway Park for race 2 of the Famuchi Wear doubleheader, and it is Tristan Thuggy Maher out in the lead of this race over the 51 of Kyle Zimmer. Matthew Rodriguez up into the wall out of turn number 2. He's going to go side by side with Mike Floppy Tellier, who it should be very fast according to Garrett Gleason. We'll have to see what the 97 can do. Definitely showing it early on, takes away the third position. Here is John Canizarro. You see him mixing it up in the field. His SimShots Racing teammate of Jamar Dumas. Behind him in that number 28, John Canizarro. Remember, finished 5th, starting out further back in the pack. Here is John Canizarro. He is currently running in the 7th position, started in the 11th position, so quick moves from the 12th of Canizarro up through the field, working on the 45 of John Eckert in the Klondike machine as those two got a little close. Jamar Dumas seems to be struggling a little bit, as does Ben Nizenka, who is all the way up in the wall. Ben Nizenka, not how he wanted to start this race. Here comes Dave Harvey. So all these drivers who were fast in race 1 have to work their way up back through the field in race 2 if they want any kind of shot at the win.
Yeah, absolutely. Patience is going to be key here. And the good news is, for everyone other than Philip Scott, who was serving a suspension, you kind of know what to expect from your competitors. You've raced with them. I mean, the invert just pretty much puts you around the same guys you're already racing with at a different position on the racetrack. So you know where these weaknesses are. You know where their strengths are. And if I know anything about Philip Scott, of all the guys out there, he has got to be chomping at the bit to get to the front of this field. It had to kill him sitting out that first race. And we love Phillip here in the Total Nonstop Racing League, and he admitted to the mistakes he made last week, and it's good to see him out there. And I'll certainly be rooting for that 99 like I always do.
We got some people out in the chat cheering on Phillip as well, so we will have to see what he is able to do. But he had to sit and watch that whole first race. But then again, Garrett, is it any kind of advantage getting to watch the race versus race in it? I mean, you can't beat the hands-on experience, but then again, Phillip got to sit up and observe all the lines everyone was doing all at once, and so he has all that information coming in. Do you think that'll be any help to him in this Famuchi Ware race number 2?
I think absolutely, Mitchell. And if I was Philip Scott, I would have been riding in car with Jason Gracias that whole second half of that race, listening to his throttle, listening to everything I could, watching his line, and just learning, observing, and putting that into practice as soon as I got on the track. I mean, Phillip had every opportunity to do that. He saw the strategy. He could have watched the broadcast, but I would have been in that number 1 car and seeing how Jason was attacking this racetrack. And if he didn't do that, then I think that was a missed opportunity.
The battle for the 6th position is what you've been watching here over the last couple of laps. John Eckert has it. There's a lot of drivers who want to take it away from him, though, including John Canizarro and Ben Nizenka, who are side by side. Right behind him for the 7th position, Dave Harvey's right there in that number 77 machine. Jamar Dumas hanging with him in the 28. And it's really a line of cars. This is all one big group here. Race winner Jason Gracias is right there as well. James Lorello is Nizenka looking under Canizarro. But Garrett, I think another thing to keep our eye on is Jason Gracias gave away his 2-tire strategy in race number 1 of the Famuchi Ware doubleheader, and so I would expect probably more 2-tire stops to be made at our stage break in this race.
Absolutely, and like Jason said, he wanted to loosen the car up. He wanted it to turn better, and you saw it with his lap times. That number 1 Bagcraft Supra was turning incredibly well. So these guys all know this now. I imagine you're going to come in, you're probably going to take 2 tires, maybe just enough fuel to get yourself to the end, because obviously the more fuel tightens it up. So we're going to see that as we watch Jamar and James Lorello maybe trade a little paint there. If not, that was a good job by them not trading paint, because it definitely could have happened. But there's really no room here. As we're riding on board with Lorello, you just look up in front of you, and it's no different than being on the highway and try to pick a lane. Like, where are you going to go and make time? Really nowhere. You're just going to hope for the best and hope they sort it out in front of you, and then you can just pick the correct lane when the time comes.
Yeah, James Lorello and Jamar got very, very close. I find it hard to believe they didn't make at least a little bit of contact headed through turn number 4, but they both keep it clean and are side by side yet again down the back straightaway. Those two going at it very hard here for the 11th place position. You see Philip Scott in the number 99 is there fighting with them. This is a good gaggle of cars back here in the pack, all fighting for the, let's see, 7th or 6th place position, depending on where you want to start it. Matthew Rodriguez in the 57 is at the very front of this group. He is currently running 5th, but he is under pressure from John Canizarro in the number 12. Canizarro looked up the inside in that Stay Tuned Sports machine, but not going to be able to get the pass done down the front straightaway. We'll try again through turns number 1 and 2. Gets a great drive off, does Canizarro from the inside lane. Not easy to do, but still not quite clear of the 57 headed into the corner. We'll see if he can do it here. it'll be close. Yes, John Canizarro is going to take away the 5th position, so move John up into the top 5, but that Famuchi where 14 of Kevin Stone is who will be chasing down a couple seconds in front. And the stage is at lap 30 here, as you see there on your screen in race number 2, as these drivers have been racing non-stop from the drop of the green flag. Maybe that's why you all decided to call it the total non-stop racing league. Garrett, kind of makes sense to what we're seeing right now, is 3 wide through turns 1 and 2. Jason Gracias was on the top. He now gets down to the inside lane. James Lorello right there. Not surprised to see any of these drivers mixing it up, as a lot of these drivers are those drivers that need points. They got shuffled to the back because of the field invert. Now they really need to race their way up to the front to try and grab points.
I think this invert has had its intended, desired result here. I guess it's easy for me to say, but at least I didn't have to read a graphic like you do. But I thought when we came up with this concept, this is going to happen at a super speedway event, but Jason knew what he was doing. This action has been non-stop, and this invert is making things exciting as we're watching the number 1 slice and dice his way through the field. But it wasn't quite clear of Dave Harvey, and Dave Harvey's not one of those guys you want to squeeze. But Jason made that look easy there after the corner.
Well, Jason Gracias made a lot of things look easy during that first race. Ran away with the win, but if it says anything to how difficult this track is and how difficult it is to make passes, it is the 57 of Matthew Rodriguez down into the inside of the racetrack. We stay green. My point will have to be put on hold for just a minute here as you're seeing the 57 out of the corner. I don't think there was any contact. There was contact behind him, but that's not what made the 57 go around. Very good driving, Garrett, by Matthew Rodriguez, keeping that one out of the wall, but that 57 kind of been struggling with the handle on the race car all through the night.
Yeah, great job by the 57 there. Matt's a talented driver. As we're looking back here at a battle between Canizarro, I say, what are those 2 cars glued to each other? I need somebody to look into this. Are they like tethered maybe? Wow, that is close racing, and he might have just put the bumper to him there again, Mitchell.
Yeah, no love lost through the night between John Canizarro and Ben Nizenka. They've been racing with each other quite a bit here in race number 1 and through the second race, but Tristan Maher done a great job out front leading the races. Oh, contact between Nizenka and Canizarro. Up into the wall goes Nizenka and Canizarro. They keep it straight somehow, though, Garrett. I don't know how they did, but maybe they just had a little bit too much of racing with each other all through the night. So we're going to get another look at it on the 3Y TV replay. Here you see Ben Nizenka shoot up the inside. Canizarro tries to keep the pressure on him, and they're fine down the straightaway. I think Canizarro just got loose on exit, and the straightaway is so short. You know, they're all the way into turn 1, but that's barely any time, and got into the 07, but they both managed to keep it straight. I don't know how. Great driving by both of those guys. They don't lose too much track position either. Ben Nizenka runs 6th, John Canizarro 7th.
Hey, look who's hitting each other again. It's the 13 and the 12. Deja vu. And we're back at it. We only got 5 laps to go here until our stage break. Hopefully these guys can sort it out. But one incident with the 07 there for the 12, and 13's right on his tail again.
I think John Canizarro has had about enough of S2R drivers getting up his inside, racing him tonight. He has had quite a bit of incidents, maybe you could say, with those 2 drivers, Ben Nizenka and James Lorello. Of course, it's all just fair racing. There's nothing nefarious, and that one kind of on the 12 getting loose there on the straightaway. But again, they keep it straight going green. That's just good short track racing, which is exactly what we're seeing between these 2, as they are putting on quite the show for us. James Lorello back up the inside of John Canizarro, almost gets into the 12, might have just barely rubbed paint with the 12 through turns 1 and 2, but Canizarro definitely doesn't want to let James Lorello get around him here. Of course, John Canizarro solidly up in the points lead. James Lorello has a lot to race for points-wise, but watch Dave Harvey right here. He's thought about making it 3 wide for just a split second. John Eckert Also right there, I mean, Philip Scott and Bill Edwards also in this pack. This race has done a great job delivering us a lot of close side-by-side racing here in the Famuchi Ware doubleheader.
Yeah, side by side, pretty much throughout this entire 30-lap run here, especially in this part of the field. These guys are coming here to one to go on lap 30, and they still haven't sorted it out. Canizarro just seems to be getting eaten up by a different car every lap. I don't know what it is. It just might be John's driving style that he seems to get about 30 good laps out of the tires, and then he becomes a pinball out there. So Harvey, Eckhart, they're going to see if they have one more lap there to make a move on him.
Yeah, I've tried to teach John Canizarro to save some tires, and he does sometimes, and then sometimes he not. So we'll see. Maybe he listened to my advice to him tonight. Maybe he didn't. We'll just have to wait and see. But already across the finish line, before we could get to it, is Tristan Thuggy Maher, who is your stage winner here in race number 2 of the Famuchi Ware doubleheader. Tristan Maher is going to get the win over Mike Floppy Tellier, who definitely does have a strong race car here in tonight's race. Tristan Maher went from finishing 1 lap down in race number 1 to winning the stage of race number 2. And you see Mike Floppy Tellier eager to get out front there. He definitely can't wait to slap some tires on that car, presumably, and go race for the win, as we're going to get the field bunched up shortly here after a round of pit stops. But this is where it's going to get interesting, Garrett, because like we said, Jason Gracias won the race off the 2-tire pit strategy that seemed to really help the handling of that car also. We'll see if anyone sticks with 4 tires or how many more might go for the 2 tires. We are going to have to wait and see, because the field headed down pit road this time by, and well, I say this time by, they're already in pit road. Tristan Thuggy Maher going to lead them down to their pit stall, and we'll see whose crew can deliver on this round of pits.
Yeah, we'll see who ends up taking 2, and maybe some guys you could take 4 tires and just not take as much fuel. I don't know where the strategies are going to lie. I'm sure we'll see a mixed bag here. Some guys are going to have damage they're going to have to pull out, but we'll see if the 17 can keep that track position that he got for the invert, and he was able to keep it. But, oh, wow, you're going to see the S2R boys. Ben Nizenka looks like he's going to be the first off pit road.
Yep, Ben Nizenka, great pit stop from that crew there, and we're being shown the number 1 of Jason Gracias. Why are we looking at Jason Gracias? Because, well, he missed his pit stall. I was about to say he switched up and stayed out, but no, Jason Gracias missed the pit stall. But he's currently a race leader. Stayed out that lap, though, so maybe he is just going to roll with it, Garrett. I mean, you won off getting out front the first time. Why not give it a shot out there? You've got the track position. It's a difficult racetrack to pass. We'll see if that is what Jason Gracias decides to do. But great round of pit stops for S2R. Like you said, Ben Nizenka and James Lorello 1-2 out of pit road. Mike Floppy Tellier also was 3rd out of pit lane, running 4th. Tristan Maher fell all the way to 5th position. So definitely not what the driver of that Bagcraft number 17 wanted to see. But it does look like Jason Gracias gonna just go with it and stay out here on the racetrack, and I think why not? I like the call.
Yeah, well, I mean, Jason kind of proved that he only needed 2 tires last time, so he figures this time 0 tires. Roll through pit road, make the best of a bad situation, and I just want to go back to the pit stops there. It was nice to see the 97 of Mike Tellier make it down pit road without looking right at the barrels like he has multiple races this year.
Yeah, definitely not advisable strategy being in the barrels. I have been there. It's not a fun place to be for a race car driver, so glad to see that round of pit stops went cleanly, except for the number 1 not making the pit stall, but he is going to be your race leader when we go back green, starting from the outside lane, and then it's Ben Nizenka who starts the cars on fresh tires. I believe it was 2 tires for most of these drivers here. I could be wrong about that, but I believe looking at them, they kind of took 2 tires. So that is, again, something to keep our eye on as we are dialing up a replay here on 3YTV. We'll see what Peter has in store for us this time. It is Jason Gracias down pit road. We have to highlight it. sped up here because, again, we are about to go back green. But you see him here looking for the pit stall, looking for the pit stall, looking for the pit stall. And oh, wait, the pit stall's already gone by. Very easy to do here, especially at the short tracks. The pit stall's kind of smaller here at Lucas Oil. So no harm, no foul for Jason Gracias so far, as he's going to lead the field to green flag once again to start the rest of the race here in the Famuchi Ware doubleheader race number 2. And clean start out front for Gracias, but no tires is going to be difficult to hang on over these 2 tire cars behind him. Contact. Mike Floppy Telly are going to go around down the back straightaway. This is going to cause all kinds of chaos. Bill Edwards heavily involved, and we are under caution.
Yeah, the administrator in my head was just saying throw the yellow, and I know Justin was waiting to see if he got it corrected, so I'm not blaming Justin by any means, but you can kind of see what was happening there as we're taking a ride here. And is this the Canizarro State Team Sports Machine, I believe? Nope, now we're taking another look here. And yeah, Mike and the boys there just couldn't get that sorted out. The 97 and the 50 are, looks like get the worst of it there, Mitchell.
Yeah, Bill Edwards left with not really a front end on that race car. You're on top of Bill Edwards' number 50 here. You see the 97 and the 07 of Nizenka tangled just a little bit. Bill just has nowhere to go, wrong place at the wrong time, and you see the damage on that Silent Syndicate Racing number 50. Really wounded. That's definitely going to hurt Bill's chances here going into this race number 2. Of course, Bill came into tonight 4th in points. He has a nice cushion, though, over the gap, or the battle, excuse me, for the race lead. That isn't a worry for the 50, but looking at the slow-mo cam, you see the 97 just go around to Bill's there, and great driving from a couple drivers. You see the 14 of Kevin Stone in that Famuchi Ware machine just went right through the middle of those cars. Good driving from Kevin Stone. But unfortunately for the 50 and 97, that is heavy damage for those 2 cars on board with Kevin Stone, because it was great driving. You see him rack up in front of him here. They're wrecking. There goes the 17. He just kind of casually drives through the middle of it, Garrett, like nothing ever happened.
Peter and I always talked about Kevin Stone just having bad luck in our broadcast together. And right there, Kevin Stone had some great luck. He was able to get himself through that and keep himself in the top 5. And just looking through the top 5, we have Izinga, Lorello, Thuggy, Stone, and Phillip Scott. We talked about him studying, learning, and he's in the top 5. And with a damaged car of Canizarro behind him, we'll see if that 99 can make his way to the front here and maybe play a little spoiler.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what Philip Scott is going to try to do here. And Jason Gracias headed down pit road under that caution, so Gracias no longer up leading the race here at Lucas Oil Raceway here. And I'll look out in the chat once again, see who all we have. We got Jason Freeman out in the chat. John Canizarro is texting and driving. Of course, John Canizarro, you don't text and drive. I do it sometimes in the chat, but be careful out there, John. You got plenty of S2R drivers to watch out for getting into you so far tonight. John Canizarro's had his handful. Then it's Dirt Dogger and Garrett Gleason. That name's familiar. He's out there in chat as well, and a lot of other.
So Dirt Dogger is our dirt administrator, Brian Rubel. That's his nickname. And him and Freeman are going at it. There seems to be some tension there. So we'll see how the dirt series goes tomorrow. Maybe somebody will get a slide job they weren't anticipating, or who knows, somebody will end up in the infield. We'll have to check that out tomorrow night. But those guys just love having a good time, especially at Canizarro's expense. Everybody just likes having a good time at Canizarro's expense, I think, Mitchell. There must be something about the guy. He's just not likable. Punchable face, probably, too. I don't even know what he looks like, but I just imagine if I saw him on the street, I just go punch him.
We like to think. I've raced with John Canizarro for a while. I'm his teammate. I've run events with him, and definitely he's had his fair share of trouble tonight with drivers. Just constantly seems to have somebody bumping into him here at Lucas Oil, but that is just the fun of short track racing. As we are about to go back green flag, Ben Izenga going to lead the field to green for the first time tonight. He's got James Lorello out starting in second. Tristan Maher back up to third after losing positions in the pit cycle. Green flag in the air. The 17 at 13 got oh so close through the turn as the 45 of John Eckert is slow, turned around in the infield. We stay green, but bad news for the 45 as something happened to him there on that restart. We're going to go back and look at it here on our replay on 3YTV. Just kind of got loose behind the 97. Maybe he made contact with Mike Floppy Tellier and it turned him around, but usually you expect it to go the other way, Garrett. But either way, the 45 back out on track, but has lost a ton of track position to the rest of the field. Here's Jason Gracias pitted, trying to work his way back up through the field, and it's going to take a lot of work for Gracias. He is currently down in the 9th place position, battling with Jamar Dumas, but we are past the halfway point already, so not much time to make it happen.
Yeah, if you're Jason Gracias, you want to grab a couple guys here on the restart, hope somebody gets into someone else, and you get a yellow. As we look at Dave Harvey calling in the night there in the 77. I think he's solidly locked in the points, so no harm there. But going back to Jason Gracias, get as many spots as you can. Once they get spread out a bit too much, you're hoping somebody has an issue that you're not involved in. Rack them back up, double foul restarts, gain a couple more, and the number one can still win this race. But he's going to need the caution here to fly maybe within the next 13 laps by lap 60 to maybe help him re-rack it so he can get a couple more.
I just realized I did forget to mention, or I forgot to check and see who our Polyhedral Cathedral Lucky Dog Award winner was on that last caution. But again, we want to thank Polyhedral Cathedral for sponsoring the Lucky Dog Award. And of course, the driver's very happy because they get some laps back thanks to Polyhedral Cathedral. So can't forget to leave them out here. But it is the Ben Nizenka show up front for the time being. But he has James Lorello right behind him, and Tristan Maher, who dominated stage 1 of race number 2 in this Famuchi-ware doubleheader, is right there, and so is the Famuchi-ware race car driver of Kevin Stone. He is in 4th position. Then Philip Scott fallen a little ways back for the time being in the 5th position, but they're dealing with Jason Gracias back there, as Gracias is giving John Canizarro a bit of a hard time for the 5th place position. Almost contact between those two into 3 and 4. Canizarro barely kept it out of the wall, but there goes Jason Gracias around him, so Gracias definitely taking advantage of the fresher tires here.
Yeah, that number one is fast, and Mitchell, he's going to make a liar out of me. He may not need a yellow to catch back up. That's how fast that number one is, but especially with the amount of laps we have left, if he puts that pace down that he was putting in the first race, if he can get a little bit of clean air on the grill, I think he's going to chase these guys down pretty quickly. I'm not sure that 07 has pull-away speed here from the group behind him. And like I mentioned on the last time I was talking, Kevin Stone, known for his bad luck. Seeing him run in the top 4 with the race sponsor Famuchi we're on is tremendous, and certainly someone that I like rooting for, and just a very likable competitor out here in the Total Non-Stop Racing League. So I hope he continues his consistent run here to lap 87.
Yeah, Kevin Stone definitely showed a ton of speed here tonight, especially in this race number 2. Of course, we love seeing the title sponsor of Famuchi-ware represented out toward the front of the field. That's always good to see, but you said it, the 07 not getting away from James Lorello at all. Lorello was right up on the quarter panel of that 07, trying to make the move on him, but it has been very difficult to pass here tonight at Lucas Oil. We've seen drivers working the inside, but it takes Jason Gracias' level speed back there to make it happen, it seems, as he is around Phillip Scott for the 5th position, now chasing down these leaders here.
Yeah, could we get a speed on Jason Gracias compared to the leader, Peter, if we can? I'd like to see how much he's chasing these guys down, because it looks like a lot.
Well, that time by, he was 1.74 seconds back. I was close, not quite the right number either, but I said it. Here is the graphic. Jason Gracias compared to Ben Nizenka. The last couple laps, the least he has driven him in the last 3 laps was 1/10, so significantly faster. We'll see how much it is this time by.
If I was live betting this race right now, and I did quit gambling about a month ago, but I'd be betting that number 1 car to win the race, because I think he's got it. But we're looking at Thuggy here, and the more these guys battle, the more that number 1's going to creep himself up into this picture.
Yep, this is definitely helping the number 1, but he is going to have to get past the very fast driver of Kevin Stone if he wants to get up here. But you see Tristan Thuggy Maher in that Bagcraft machine trying to make it happen. around James Lorello. And of course, we talk about series sponsors being represented up to the front. Of course, we can't forget Bagcraft, who is the title sponsor of the Bagcraft Grand National Series here. So Jason Grassi is doing a good job representing them as well. As you can see them out on the hood of his car. He has already caught Kevin Stone and is putting pressure
Oh,
on
we
the
have a
number
wreck.
14. We do have a wreck indeed. The 07 of Ben Nizenka flowed up there. Getting crazy up here. They keep it clean though, as we're going to look at it on the replay. I think James Lorello thought it was John Canizarro up there leading the race for a second, Garrett, because contact with Ben Nizenka puts the 07 back into the 4th place position now. And that is going to really hurt the 07's chances to make the playoffs, because he needed to beat James Lorello by 10 points in order to get there.
Yeah, that's a tough break for the 07. You can see these guys giving it all they have, knowing that number 1's coming, knowing you need to maximize points, and then you have a little bump there from your teammate. This guy's going for the same real estate, trying to pass. So we talked about even pre-race how hard it is to pass here. You might use guys up, and sometimes those guys that you have to use up are your teammates. And I'm sure they'll forgive each other if they haven't already. But Tristan Maher looking to take advantage here, and I think you need to put as much of a gap as you can between yourself and that number 1, because he's there, Mitchell. He's there.
Yep, Jason Gracias is here in this battle for the race lead now. Don't tell them that out front, but if you were the 17 of Tristan Maher, you really want to get this move made soon if you're going to do it. Otherwise, you are going to have the number 1 on your bumper, which makes it very difficult to make the pass. But James Lorello, ever since he got the lead, is doing exactly what he needs to be doing, and that is just smooth sailing out front. There is their S2R teammate, Bill Edwards, in the number 50, who has that damage from the wreck on the last restart, not the last restart, second to last restart. Out back there, battling for the 9th position. Bill runs 11th at the moment, so race hasn't gone quite to Bill Edwards' favor. Meanwhile, though, Tristan Maher trying to keep the pressure up, Garrett, but it becomes more and more difficult to do that as that 1 gets closer and closer, knowing how fast he is.
Yeah, this is almost a moot point, I think, who's leading the race right now, because in about 5 laps, that number 1's going to be leading the race, I think. So if you're James Lorello, you know what you have to do points-wise. You're not going to risk it here and put yourself in a bad position. You're making points on Nizenka. You're just going to, when he gets there, I don't expect Lorello to rough up the number 1 or try to do anything like that. I think he's just going to take a good point stay as we watch Matthew Rodriguez bounce off the wall. Nice battle here. Jamar Dumas. That's Bill Edwards, Damage Machine, and Mike Tellier, guys who've had some bad luck and some interesting luck out there tonight.
Yeah, Mike Floppy Tellier getting in now on this battle for the 9th position, which is currently held by Matthew Rodriguez. These 4 have been going at it for the last couple of laps. Speaking of going at it, here is Jason Gracias on the bumper of the 17 of Tristan Maher. You saw the number 1 get a little loose out of turn 4, but loose is fast. You told him he took 2 tires there to loosen up the race car, and it helped him drive away to the stage, so I'm sure he's not too upset if that rear end is sliding out just a little bit. Tristan Maher, though, is feeling the pressure as he tried to get up under the number 13 of James Lorello. Not going to be able to get the move made, though, and he falls right into the clutches of Jason Gracias. So these 3 nose to tail with only 22 laps left in race number 2 of the Famuchi doubleheader.
Yeah, I think Gracias will make short work here of the 17. I mean, they both got the bagcraftcornhole.com. If you need some cornhole apparel, check them out. As Mitchell seems to have left the chat here for a second, so I'll just handle it as we watch the battle again. Hey, Mitchell's back. Thanks for being here, Mitchell. We have a doubleheader tonight. Oh wait, we're 21 laps to go.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there. Discord just decided to kick me out. Oh well. I'm back. Don't worry about me, folks. I'm here. Right, just like Jason Gracias is out front, but he has made quick time. I will give him that, but I will be the devil's advocate right now, because it gets harder to make those passes the further you get up toward the front, and he is at the cream of the crop at the moment. But the battle for 6th position, we got to take a moment to focus on. This is a good one here. Kyle Zimmer in the number 51 has it, but the Famuchi wearer machine of Kevin Stone, who, like you said, Garrett, Very strong run for Kevin Stone here tonight, but he's fighting with John Canizarro, who just hasn't been able to make it happen in this later half of race number 2. Canizarro looked strong early, but just not quite able to find the pace here late in this one as the number 1 all over the 17 dives it up the inside, trying to make the pass. Not going to be able to stay under through the center of the corner, just trying to find the run, and he's got 18 more laps to try and get it done as Jason Gracias actually up into the wall slightly through 1 and 2, but these are going to be the 2 hardest passes Jason Gracias has made this entire race. It gets more and more difficult the further up you get, and you see him right now. He is not making quick work of these guys. I say that, of course, and he gets under the 17 of Tristan Maher because people like to prove me wrong out there on the racetrack. It's like they're listening into me, like they have me. Instead of their crew chiefs and spotters, they're listening to Mitchell, and they're like, okay, he said it's difficult to make the pass. I'll go make the pass, and that's what Jason Gracias just did, as he is up into second place, and now James Lorello is his last target. He's got 16 laps this time by the line to go get around the 13 to try and go 2 for 2 tonight in the Famuchi doubleheader from Lucas Oil Racing.
Yeah, Dougie put up a good fight there for second place, and I was proven wrong. I thought Jason would make much quicker work. You were certainly right, and I don't think Lorello's gonna. I said Lorello's not gonna do anything stupid here to jeopardize points, but he's also not gonna pull over and give Jason Gracias the very good graphic there. Jason Gracias proving Mitchell wrong since 2022, which is this year, which Peter had a hard time figuring out what year it was last year when New Year's was going on. It was a whole thing. He thought I was Drew. He thought it was like 2000 again or something. I don't know. He's old. But Jason Gracias here getting right to the back bumper of the 13. And Garrett's been wrong since 1990. It's my birthday on Saturday, and I'll be 32, and I'll still be as wrong then as I probably was the day I was born.
Jason Gracias right on the bumper of James Lorello out there, wasting no time. These two have driven away from Tristan Maher. I think he used about all he had in him, trying to hold off that charging number 1 as the 17. I think the tire's starting to go away just a little bit, but James Lorello, you're looking out the back of that number 13. He's got a mirror full of that Bagcraft number 1, Jason Gracias. Headed down the back straight away. Gracias looking up the inside of the 13. I don't think he has the run. Just kind of showing the nose to the 13. Like you said, Garrett, he has 13 more laps, 12 as they cross the line this time. He's got time to be patient and make that move, but he can't wait too long because the laps are winding down. Mike Tellier, I think, wins the award for going lower on the track than I've seen anyone run tonight, all the way down below that white line in the corner. That's barely there, but I think it's there. I haven't seen anyone down that far, so Mike Tellier looking everywhere he can for grip. So is James Lorello out front, as here goes Jason Gracias diving up the inside into turn number 1. Can he make it stick up the inside? He gets close to Lorello, not able to make it stick though, as Jason Gracias doing exactly what he needs to do though, Garrett, keeping up the pressure. But if there's any driver I would put out there to say he won't crack under pressure, gotta be James Lorello is one of those drivers, because Lorello, calm, cool, and collected out in front of the wheel, but cannot be easy to keep that up with Jason Gracias putting all this pressure on him. Oh, contact.
Oh, yeah, definitely contact there. Looks like Gracias made the pass work there. Once we see a replay here, look at our producer. This guy, I'll tell you what, he deserves a race. As we're looking at this battle for the lead here between James Lorello and Jason Gracias, and looks like Gracias is going to get into him a little. No, was that net code there, Mitchell?
It was close, definitely close between those two. I don't know. It's a little hard to tell from that angle. We'll see if Peter. Oh, see, there we go. Peter dialing up another camera shot for us. This will tell. Ooh, they were.
That was weird.
They were close. I'll let you all be the judge. That one at home. There might have been a little net code in between those two, but it was very close racing, which is exactly what it isn't anymore, because Jason Gracias out to an 0.8 of a second lead last time by the line. We'll see the gap this time is over 1 second. Jason Gracias smooth sailing out front now, ran up through the entire field went from missing his pit stall and then pitted the next caution. Of course, that does mean he has fresher tires, Garrett, but I really don't think that makes that big a difference here with how difficult this racetrack is to pass. I think Jason Gracias just has something figured out. None of the rest of the field does, but you know, anything can happen in 6 laps. He can't let his guard down. You see John Eckert, the lap car, out in front of him. So Jason Gracias not smooth sailing quite yet. Here's the battle for 4th between Ben Nizenka and Philip Scott. Philip Scott doing a good job. Didn't run race number 1. Came into this without the experience of the other drivers on this racetrack, but it's been a strong showing for Phillip so far as he's running in the top 5 with just 5 laps to go. Trying to work around Ben Nizenka, who just has kind of fallen off the pace as well here that we showed earlier in the race. Of course, he had a little bit of an incident that set him back in the pack, but these two going at it here in the late stages of the race for us here at Lucas Oil Raceway Park, and they have a good battle. A little further in the back, Matthew Rodriguez, Jamar Dumas are also going at it for 11th. This is also a nice little battle we have going on here late in the race, not quite in the top 10. Mike Floppy Tellier has that position just out in front of him, but these two going at it for us here in race number 2 of the Famuchi Ware doubleheader from Lucas Oil Raceway Park. But this battle not settling down either, Garrett. I think both those going to come down to the line.
Yeah, I think I'd like to see someone just miss a corner and just go for it on the last the last lap. I think that'd be fun. Hopefully it's nothing too personal, but I think it'd be pretty cool if somebody bumped and banged like Ricky Craven and Kurt Busch did at Darlington that year, just as they're coming across the line, but keep it straight. That'd be good for us, considering Jason Gracias is again pulling away from 2nd place and on his way to his 2nd win of 2 races tonight.
Well, Jason Gracias is in a little bit of lap traffic here, but it doesn't really matter for him as he just took the white flag. 1 lap to go here from Lucas Oil Raceway Park. I got that time. He is leading. Once again, Jason Gracias, I didn't forget him this time around. I also didn't call him Garrett Gleason, as he is going to cross the line this time to pick up both wins in the Famuchi Ware doubleheader. Jason Gracias wins race number 2 in a dominant showing here from Lucas Oil Raceway Park. James Lorello picks up 2nd. Tristan Maher, good 3rd place finish for driver of that Bagcraft number 17. Ben Nizenka was able to hold off Philip Scott for the 4th place position as well, but tonight really was all about this man, Jason Gracias, Garrett, as he showed speed nobody else seemed to have.
Yeah, I guess perks of being an administrator and making the schedule, you know what tracks you're good at, what tracks you like to race, and not a bad idea to put them as the doubleheader race. I'm certainly joking a little bit about that, but Jason did a tremendous job out here tonight, and he certainly deserves to burn them down in the Bagcraft cornhole.com machine. And I don't know if I hope he gives us a better interview the 2nd time around, or if we could maybe get someone else in here and Jason could play it down like he didn't know what he was doing. But he had this race planned out, Mitchell, and he did a good job. So I hope he's able to make the chase. I think this is probably going to get him in a good points position, but we'll see once it's all tallied up.
Yeah, we will have to wait and see here. Jason Gracias came into tonight 11th, 9 points back of James Lorello, but 2 wins on the night. Very, very strong running. Of course, Lorello finished 2nd here in race number 2, so we will have to wait and see, as I know they're going to try and update the points very quickly for us here. So hopefully we know what that is, but like you said, he definitely wasn't uncontested. It's not to say that, you know, he threw the scheduling because he knew this was his good track, if I can get my words right. You know, James Lorello, super strong. John Canizarro was super strong, especially during race number 1. Ben Nizenka, Tristan Maher, all those drivers showed a ton of speed. So Gracias definitely really had to drive for this one. So definitely well-deserved sweep of the Famuchi Ware doubleheader. I think that might be a little bit of a record to go down in the books after tonight. Again, strong run for all these drivers here, and we're going to get some interviews lined up with you pretty shortly with your top 3 in race number 2 here. Let's see. First up, we have Tristan Maher, who finished third place in race number 2. Tristan, it was a great run for you here tonight. A lot of great battles all through the field. Kind of take us through both your races, let's say, and just how did you think your night went?
Well, I, long story short, I think that my night went pretty well, considering the fact of all the technical difficulties that I've had right before this race started. Um, I don't know if you guys seen, I was jumping in and out of the server like a bunch of times, doing all that kind of stuff. But I quickly made an audible and got at least something set up to where I could drive and do it. I was pretty messed up in the first race, trying to like adjust, get used to like my field of view and stuff like that. So the first race I just kind of chalked it up as like a practice. All the whole 87 laps was just a practice. I was a lap down pretty quick. The rest of the race, just practice. Next race, since I was a lap down, I started up front. I started out good. I had a good lead on Mike Tellier when the caution came out, the first stage. I had about a second and a half on him, and I was still feeling good on my tires. I was doing good. What really got me was when all the guys, I think second, third, and fourth, only took 2 tires on that pit stop in the second race, and I took 4. So that put me back in a fourth or fifth. I got passed by some other people. Oh, Gracias forgot to pit. He missed his pit stall in the pit stop in the second race. So I was back in a 5th place, and then that was kind of what did me in there. Track position is so important here because it's just so hard to pass. You basically you have to get on the outside of somebody, or you have to kind of move them. It's pretty difficult to pass here. But overall, I think it went great.
Well, I definitely think it went great, and if you want to call race 1 practice, it definitely made perfect for you because third place is definitely not a shabby run here at Lucas Oil Raceway. We saw a lot of drivers struggle through the night, especially with passing being so difficult. And you talked about having to either get to the outside or make a bump and run. Just how aggressive do you think drivers were getting out there? Because it put on great racing for us here up in the booth. But from your perspective, how aggressive were you all having to drive tonight to make those passes, especially with the points being a factor here tonight?
Well, I think if I'm being honest, I think that everybody had a good amount of aggression. I would say it wasn't. I mean, it was good, clean racing for the most part. We only had the one caution besides the stage cautions. It was really fun, man. Like once I got up front in the second race and I was racing with Lorello, I mean, I probably I tapped Lorello's bumper probably 5 or 6 times in a row going through turns 3 and 4. I was having a blast. I was getting it was a little frustrating I couldn't pass him, but that's racing, man. I mean, that's just the best type of racing, trying anything and everything you can, different lines, trying stuff to try to get around the guy in front of you.
It looked fun from up here. I'm sure you all were having a fun time down there on the racetrack right now. I'm scrambling to figure out quickly where we're going to after our off week next week. The first race of the chase is going to be at Phoenix. And what are your thoughts on Phoenix? Another short track, well, debatably short track. I think it is, but would you like that place?
It's very fun. Sorry, I don't know if I cut you off. I couldn't hear you. I don't know what happened. Anyways, Phoenix, good track. Turns, I don't know what you'd call it, 1 and 2 now, since of where the start finish line is. It's important to get in there hard and get a good run off of I can't remember if it's 4 turns or 6 turns. Anyways, Phoenix is a fun track. I really enjoy it. Yeah, should be some fun racing for sure.
Yeah, well, we're looking forward to watching more good racing. Again, I hope you had a good run tonight. Third place again, nothing to be ashamed of at all. But before we let you go, do you have any shout outs you want to give?
Yeah, TNR, obviously, Garrett Gleason for putting this on. Missed him today. Hope he's doing well. You guys up in the booth for sure. And then I got to thank my teammate in this race, mostly Jason Gracias. I mean, I used the first race as a practice, asked him some questions. He gave me some pointers, and I do think that it really helped me out for the second race. And also, it was fun racing with him. I mean, I let him go. I didn't think I burned my stuff up. Couldn't pass Lorello anymore, so let him go, and he swept the night. So good for him.
Oh, yeah, and thank you for stopping by with us. Not Jason, I'm sorry, it's been a long night. Tristan, that's who you are. I've been mixing up names all night. Thank you for stopping by again. Congratulations on the strong third place finish here in race number 2.
Thank you guys. Appreciate it a lot.
Right, that was Tristan Maher, your third place finisher here tonight, but I believe Garrett Gleason has caught up with James Lorello.
Hey, James, nice points night for you. I think that should lock yourself into the chase. A lot of contact out there tonight. Did you have fun?
It was fun for sure, but it was so hard to pass. I mean, you just had to lean on guys and try to get around. It was a cool track. I'd never raced it before, but you know, it's more short track racing than Martinsville, I think.
Yeah, that's for sure. You guys did a good job, all things considered. Passing each other with some bumping, but I think some give and take out there too. Did you have anything for that one car? I think Jason played the strategy pretty well. I mean, US2R boys were pretty fast throughout the run, but it just seemed like it seemed inevitable that Jason Gracias was going to end up catching you from behind there.
Yeah, I thought I could hold him off a little bit. You know, I don't know what happened there. He didn't get into me as hard as it looked, I think, on the screen. But yeah, I didn't have much for him there. In the first race or the second race, he just got out ahead and had some good strategy. So good win to him. I'm just glad to have a good points night so I can hopefully get into the playoffs.
Yeah, I think you should be good to go on that. But first race after our little break here for our last chance qualifier is Phoenix. What are your thoughts heading into Phoenix? Is it a track that you like running, and have you had some good runs there?
I've had some good runs. I don't think I'm as fast as some of these other guys there, like Canizarro and Nizenka and those folks and Gracias. I don't think I'm quite as fast as them, but hopefully I can come out of there with a good finish.
Well, James, as most of us know, before I let you go, you're the second best racer in your family. Could you tell us a little bit about your sponsor and how your daughter's racing career is going?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I'm definitely second best. Third race this season. We've got a national race this week, the Carolina Clash. It'll be like 200 something cars. So we'll see how she does. Hoping that she can win, since I didn't win this week in her first junior Honda race. So we'll see how it goes.
Well, we're certainly James Lorello fans here on 3Y TV, but we're mostly Elizabeth Lorello racing fans. So we're hoping for all the best there, and we look forward to keeping the success in the family, and we look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks here on track. Congratulations.
Thanks, guys.
I'm sorry, any shout-outs?
Yeah.
Let me up your road.
You guys and all the sponsors. Thanks to Bagcraft and everybody. I mean, it's been a fun season, and I'm excited for the playoffs.
All right, I believe that's it for James Lorello, and Mitchell Adams is caught up with our race winner, some guy named either Garrett Gleason or Jason Gracias. I'm not certain.
I'm pretty sure that Jason Gracias is the winning driver here tonight, not Garrett Gleason. I apologize for the mix-up earlier again, Jason. Since Garrett got to talk to you after you won race 1, I think it's only right that I get to come down to Victory Lane and interview you after race 2. 2 for 2 tonight here in the Famuchi doubleheader. Take us through your night and what made you so fast.
Well, yeah, it's last time I swept a weekend was I think at when I raced ORP in another league. So ORP is just one of those tracks that suits my driving style. You have to be aggressively patient, if that makes sense. So it's all about rolling the center, not burning up the tires on the exit, and trying to kind of keep the car neutral all race long. If you're too aggressive, you're gonna burn off the right front, and then you're just a sitting duck. So it's just one of those tracks that suits driving style. It's either you get it or you don't. So I'm happy. I'm finally back in Victory Lane here at TNR. It's been a while. So 2 for 2. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, not back in Victory Lane once. You did it twice here tonight from Lucas Oil Raceway Park, and you had to pass a lot of cars out there to do it. How aggressive were you having to be to get around all those drivers, and kind of what was the way you approached every pass? And
You really so in the drivers meeting every week, I preach always ride for the first couple laps, understand where people are braking, and by doing so, you can really analyze somebody's weak point. So I realized most of these guys were struggling off of center off, especially in turns 4. So every chance I get, I would just back up the turn and just dive bomb it low and hook that apron and try to get a run for turn 1. And it worked out in my favor. So just really got to analyze your competition and see where they're weak and pounce.
well, you definitely did a good job of it again here tonight, like I keep saying. And I know that you were right there on the bubble. I guess I should go check if the points have been fixed up here tonight. Garrett might know that more than I do, but
I have them minus the stage points right now. I think the best I can say, as of right now, without stage points, Gracias is in. So if that's what we're going off of, I mean, he had what do you have stage points? I think he should be pretty good as far as points goes. So.
well, assuming Garrett is correct, which he probably is, he knows more than I do, that you would be in the playoffs here after your strong showing here tonight. So take us through your playoff run coming up and which tracks you're looking at as your best chances to get to a win and hopefully win the championship.
2 tracks I'm looking forward to, Phoenix and Homestead. But I have some sad breaking news. I will be conceding my playoff spot to another fellow competitor. I will be away for one of the playoff races, so I don't think it's fair for me to tie up a spot that I would essentially be last in the standings for. So I'm going to concede my spot to somebody else. So whoever is 9th in points, you just got a holiday gift. But I'm just going to try a trophy hunt. Homestead, Phoenix, or Homestead's one of my probably second favorite track next to Dover. So I just want to go out and win Homestead. I'm going to miss Phoenix, which sucks, but I'll be in the chats rooting my fellow competitors on.
Well, there you go. Somebody else is getting the playoff berth. I wish you the best trophy hunting in the playoffs again, and hope you're good in your off week. Of course, before we let you go after your dominating performance tonight, I know you're administrator of the league, so I'm sure you've got some sponsors you want to shout out here.
Yeah, first and foremost, thanks to Kevin Stone and Famuchi Wear for the race sponsorship. The doubleheader presented by Famuchi Wear was a really good race to me. I checked out their website, famuchilife.com. If you guys need some t-shirts or hoodies or jackets or whatever, go check out Famuchi Wear, pick up a shirt, support those who support our league. Thanks to Bagcraft, cornhole.com. Presenting sponsor for the league. He's been on my car for the last season and a half over here and over at NSRA. I was able to get them the championship NSRA. Unfortunately, I won't be getting the championship here in TNR, but hopefully Tony's happy. Put his car in victory lane. So Tony, if you want to send me a shirt, feel free. Thanks to Garrett Gleason for putting the league together. Thanks to our admin team of Justin, Mike, Thuggy, Garrett, and everybody makes this possible. Thanks to Chris Darling, Max Graphics, for always keeping me in good cars. This shark car was chomping at the bits. Like Freeman said in the race chat, chomp chomp. And a couple exciting things for you guys who at home watching in the chat. Tomorrow starts our TNR Tuesday Night Thunder Truck Series. Kicks off at Daytona. So if you guys are at home and want to check out a good league with some clean racing, Trucks always put on a good show. It's actually run by Mitchell, so come over and sign up. I think there's a couple spots left.
Yes,
Now, last season we had a really good racing, lots of parity. So this season I expect the same. We also have our big block modifieds that run earlier in the day, so you can have a twofer, run big blocks in the earlier night and then trucks at night. And just thanks to everybody who makes this possible through ITV for broadcast and everyone at home who just watches. And last but not least, 2 apologies tonight. One to Mike. I think I came off the court turn low I got you loose. That's my fault. I did apologize in the server. And to James, we just got hit with netcode going for the win there at the end. Sorry for ruining your race, but overall, I'm just excited. First time on a short track, we only had one caution flag. So really good group of guys. So looking forward to the next couple races.
All right, well, thank you for stopping by, Jason. Again, congratulations on the sweep of the Famuchi doubleheader here at Lucas Oil Raceway Park, and hope you can carry on this good run throughout the rest of the season. And thank you for stopping by.
Yeah, guys, have a good night.
All right, Garrett, that is going to do it for our post-race interviews here from Lucas Oil Raceway Park. It was quite the night here in both races, and it was great racing. Like we said, both races completely delivered, exceeded expectations some people might have had. Going into Lucas Oil Raceway Park, nobody disappointed, but we'll take you through the finishing order for the doubleheader race number 2 here. Jason Gracias, of course, picked up the race win again here in race number 2. James Lorello finished second. Tristan Maher finished in the 3rd position. Ben Nizenka in 4th. Phillip Scott had a very good run in race number 2, finishing in the 5th position. Kyle Zimmer finished 6th. John Canizarro Jr. finished in 7th. Kevin Stone in the Famuchi car finished 8th. It was Bill Edwards in 9th. And Mike Floppy Tellier rounds out your top 10.
Yeah, 11th place, Matthew Rodriguez. Jamar Dumas coming home in 12th. John Eckhart had decent run going on, ends up in 13th. David Harvey in 14th. He called it quits there. Keith Carba, JD Laird didn't start the second race, and I was up here in the booth. Just wanted to, I know we're all probably trying to get out of here. Look forward to the truck series tomorrow, and I just wanted to thank Peter Short for doing a tremendous job producing. I know he's a little under the weather. He's busy being a dad, but appreciate having him here and doing this for us as well.
And I do believe Garrett has pulled up, not Garrett, Peter, everyone's Garrett in the booth tonight. Peter's pulled up race 1 results for us here. That one, Jason Gracias also picked up the win. James Lorello also finished 2nd. There it was Ben Nizenka finishing 3rd. Bill Edwards 4th. John Canizarro 5th. Dave Harvey 6th. Kevin Stone 7th. Jamar Dumas 8th. Mike Tellier 9th. John Eckert rounded out the top 10. Then it was Kyle Zimmer in 11th, Matthew Rodriguez 12th, Tristan Maher 13th, and Keith Carbow 14th. JD Laird didn't finish, and Philip Scott didn't start. And Garrett Gleason, once again, 87 laps down. Garrett, you got to pick it up next race.
I will do my best if I'm allowed to be out there, but we'll see. These administrators are pretty tough over here.
Yeah, I'm sure you know a little bit about that, being one yourself. But again, we want to thank you all for stopping by and spending your Monday night with us here on 3YTV. If you enjoyed it, please feel free to go hit that like button before you leave. It helps us out a lot here at 3YTV. But again, thank you to Famuchi for sponsoring tonight's race, as well as Bagcraft for sponsoring the Bagcraft Grand National Series, and Polyhedral Cathedral for their Lucky Dog Award. I hope I'm not forgetting any sponsors, Garrett.
Yeah, just like you said, Bagcraft Cornhole, Max Graphics, Stay Tuned Sports, Sinorama sponsoring the race tomorrow night, 3YTV, and just everybody that makes this possible. There's so many, Polyhedral Cathedral, everybody that just puts their time in the Total Nonstop Racing. We appreciate it. We keep trying to do better for everyone, and tomorrow's another day. We'll do even better tomorrow.
Yep, again, make sure to tune in back again tomorrow here on 3YTV for the start of the Tuesday night Thunder presented by Stay Tuned Sports here in the Total Nonstop Racing League on 3YTV. We will see you then. But for everyone here in the Total Nonstop Racing League and at 3YTV, our producer Peter Short, we hope you get feeling better, Peter. For Garrett Gleason and myself, Mitchell Adams, we hope you all stay safe, have fun, and we will see you next week. Not next week, the week after, because we're off next week.